stand up and say hallelujah. Say hallelujah, hallelujah. Let's go. Hallelujah. All praises to the Lord. Let's go. We pressing closer to the mark. I'm a walking martyr. I keep the laws locked in my heart so I can talk to Father.
The Underground Railroad in Detroit. Impossible freedom, impossible escape. The Underground Railroad, a symbolic monument of escape during the dreadful times of slavery. Escape from the vile hands of the oppressors didn't come easy to those slaves that were courageous enough to journey to their freedom. Deuteronomy 28, verses 15 through 68, details the curses that would befall the Israelite nation. Through these curses, we would see our children stripped from us and our brothers and sisters murdered in cold blood. The Lord prophesied that even our old and our young would never be shown favor. They all would be oppressed.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign, and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
Even though the slaves wanted to escape to freedom, God said the curses would follow you forever. Slaves were still a hot commodity in the 1800s after the abolishment of slavery in the United States. Slaves were still being sold and used for labor, even though they were thought to be free. Following this, slaves began their departure and escape to what they thought was freedom. Many plantations would employ bounty hunters and slave catchers in order to catch and return their property.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. Verse 29. And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness. And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
You see, the other nations used to fear the nation of Israel. When our name was said, those nations would flee away and run in different directions. But now, because of our sin, we run away like cattle fleeing captivity. Many believe that once slaves reached the north, they faced no peril. Slave catchers basically roamed every street in every city. Many slaves would face danger on all sides while still having to care for their little ones. Detroit was the last stop before gaining freedom. Amongst much unknown history of Detroit, the city played a large role in the freedom of the runaway slaves. Detroit, aka Midnight, was safe house for many runaway slaves from their southern plantations. In the 1800s, secret networks and tunnels called the Underground Railroad were set up to assist the escape of the captives. Detroit was a big port to freedom, Canada. Right under our noses lies many monuments dedicated to the events that played a part in our escape. We spend much of our time admiring the elements of downtown Detroit, but we miss these important pieces of our history. The Finney Barn, owned by abolitionist Seymour Finney, was a small brick barn on the corner of Griswold and State Street. The barn was located close to the river, making it a pivotal point in the travels through Detroit. Many of the runaways were hidden here from the eyes of the slave catchers. Refugees hid in nightfall when they were transported to and across the river. This building was torn down to make way for today's Chamber and Commerce building. This spot now holds the plaque signifying this as an Underground Railroad station. The Second Baptist Church of Detroit was founded in 1836 by 13 free black men. The church stands as the oldest congregation in Michigan. Here lies a secret to many residents and visitors of Detroit. In the basement of this historic church is home to the Croghan Street Station, a station on the Underground Railroad. This station gets its name from Monroe Street's old name, Croghan Street. Many significant abolitionists visited this church. Sojourner Truth, John Brown, Frederick Douglass, just to name a few. The Croghan Street Station is said to have assisted in over 5,000 escaped slaves to their freedom.
It's so hard to serve God. And why when I say that I'm a Jew, it sound odd? For years I've been walking around saying that I'm a black man. I ain't saying that no more, it sounds wrong, man.
This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels. Stay up to date with our latest events, music, and classroom lessons. IUIC plans to continue visiting different countries where this gospel has not been preached before. IUIC needs your help in pushing this truth. So join us. Subscribe to our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and podcasts, and stay up to date with us. For more information, please visit www.israelunite.org.